Shalom, Yasharallah. First and foremost, I want to say all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the house of David. Salutations to you brothers throughout the four corners of the earth, teaching the truth in righteousness and sincerity. To you Israelite foreigners, come back home to the truth. To those that passed on serving the Lord, the dead in Yahweh Shai shall arise first. To you sisters who believe, keep encouraging and supporting your brothers out here teaching. And never forget, always commemorate the sister who washed Yahweh Shai feet in the scriptures, because it was definitely an act of kindness that, needs to be repeated wherever we teach the gospel. I wanted to talk to y'all about, just an observation about life and in the scriptures. Sometimes in the scriptures you find like sometimes prophets get converted from a young age or become prophets that, they were pretty much born into it. And then sometimes, like Yahushua, right? Sometimes you have somebody that has to be a converted sinner. And sometimes it's a converted sinner that is an unlikely story to be a converted sinner. Like Paul. Paul was an example. Or is an example of that. Because he was out there basically a gangster. He was persecuting Christians. Did a lot of dirt, so to speak. And then he converted. And sometimes the Most High, and this is why a lot of times some of y'all might get mad at me, because I do give the benefit of the doubt as much as I can. I try to not give up on a brother, sometimes to my detriment. Sometimes I look like an asshole sticking up for a nigga who's evil as fuck, because in my mind, I'm like, he could still repent. Which a lot of times, yeah, they probably could repent, but I don't invest into the situation that much anyway to begin with. A lot of times I'm giving brothers the benefit of the doubt because I don't gain or lose anything anyway from the situation, and neither do we. But sometimes the Lord will take somebody that has done such wickedness as Paul to make an example in a righteous way. Everybody's not an example, meaning you get put to death. Some people are examples because they've done so much wrong and they turn away from that wrong and do the right thing, like Paul. Today, in today's world, right? Do you think the nerds that never sinned and never did nothing are gonna usually convert people? Or is it niggas like me that, and even worse than niggas like me, I wasn't even that bad when I was in the world, to be honest with you. Let's be honest. I was no nerd. I mean, outside of my college degree, I was no model citizen. But there was way worse sinners than me. But now, when I tell the story to the people, right? When I tell my story, what I went through, and me coming to the truth, that story has a little edge, as opposed to somebody who's never done anything before, at all. So imagine if a real bad sinner, a murderer, a fucking gang member, comes into this truth, how powerful his story can become. Yeah, I used to throw up the 5 and do this and that and third, but now I'm serving the Lord. How much more will that story be to the people to believe? Like, damn, because sometimes you gotta, not you gotta like on purpose, but like sometimes the real bad sinner can become such a powerful story. You know, a man who's done so much wrong can be an example to others. You know, imagine converting one of these little YNs that's real gangster and real disrespectful. You know, imagine converting somebody who robbed a stick-up kid. I mean, you probably won't ever trust that nigga over your house for a holy day, but you know, just kidding. But no, seriously, like the truth needs men with edge. Because if somebody that's never really been out there doing any type of wrong comes into this truth, well, you know, you kind of expect it. Especially in nowadays, a lot of brothers are geeks coming into this truth. Real geeky, real Bud Bundy-ish. You know, real dorky, Prince of Dorkness. But what about a man who was out there selling drugs, killing people? Yeah, it's an evil story, but when somebody like that comes to the Most High, how much more beautiful is it? That's why I always have respect for the brother Tazaiwan, the elder Tazaiwan, because Tazaiwan used to go up in some of the worstest projects in North, stop and teach brothers out there. How do you even develop? Well, I know because I used to on many occasions go with him, you know, but he done been into some real dangerous projects, taught the word of the Most High, and actually converted a lot of brothers. Well, the Most High gave, you know, the actual conversion. I don't want to take away the Most High's glory, but you know, the brother, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, went into some real bad projects and taught some real tough brothers. You know? And some of them practice to this day. They may not be out there in the streets with us preaching, but they live as close to life to the truth as they can, as I guess. Not I guess, they do. You know, they do what they can. You know, but anyway, that was it. You know, but don't be afraid to teach some brothers that's rough around the edges. You know, because definitely, you know, we need that too. We need brothers that used to do, because, you know, how powerful is it? Yo, I used to shoot niggas blocks up and now I'm serving the Lord. Like, you know what I'm saying? Think about that story. You know, but anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom and on to the next one.